What's up, Falcons fans? Welcome into Falcons Today by Chat Sports. My name is Trace Moustakis, but please call me Moose. On today's episode, let's go over some Falcons joint practice takeaways with the Tennessee Titans, which just wrapped up at the time of this recording about 15 to 20 minutes ago. So we got a lot to talk about. Now, before we get into it, if you want Falcons Today to grow, and this is one of your favorite spots to get Falcons news, do me a favor, send this video to a friend that has never seen our coverage before. If you do that, more shares, more videos, more likes. You get the point. It all trickles down together. So do me a favor, send this to a Falcons fan in your life. Let's talk ball, shall we? Let's start with the offensive takeaways because there are some great things to talk about. And then let's talk about some defensive takeaways, which is the main stunner right now. So Penix definitely showed out, but the defense was the main highlight of today's joint practice. Now, before I get into that, of course, we got to start with the injury news. And I think I need to kind of start with this because this was kind of odd. So at first, when asked, Raheem Morris was talking about the Darnell Mooney injury, if he was going to be ready for the opener. And he said, I feel great based on my medical experts talking to those guys on when he can go. I feel good about him getting back to healthy and ready to go. When? I don't know. Weren't you just asked about him being ready for the opener against the Buccaneers, and then you say, yeah, I feel, good that he's going to be ready to go. When? I'm not entirely sure. So all of that felt very confusing. So is Darnell Mooney going to be back ready for week one? Is he going to be back at some point throughout the season? I mean, your guess is as good as mine right now. So I'm not in Raheem Morris's head. I don't necessarily know. All we do know is it was a very vague statement. I'm not entirely sure what to make out of it. So I'll ask you, do you think he's going to be ready for that week one start against the Buccaneers? Let me know right now in the comment section down below. If I had to put my guess on it based off that answer and from what I've seen from other conflicting reports, my guess is no. But I don't think it'll be too far along after that. Some other Falcons that did not practice today, whether it be for injury or personal reasons. Clark Phillips was out with a rib injury. Carlos Washington sat out with a hamstring injury. Jamal Agnew was an undisclosed absence. And then Caleb Johnson also sat out for personal reasons. Nothing to be too concerned about. All of these were noted beforehand. Here's what we also know. Michael Penix is not going to play on Friday. Kirk Cousins? Maybe. So we might be getting a Kirk Cousins sighting. And I think it's important to note this because this was right before joint practice started. And Raheem Morris said that, yeah, Penix is a no-go, but Cousins could get out onto the field. Now, I think it is also important to share with you that Kirk Cousins, if he were to get out onto the field, would be 100% showing off for his next team. Make no mistake about it. This guy does not want to be a backup quarterback. He believes he can still do it. To some degree, I kind of agree with him. His better days are definitely behind him, though. So he'd be 100% showing off for a new team. There were some reports out that he was linked to the Cleveland Browns, but they can start an entire basketball team with all the quarterbacks that they've got right now in their starting five, so they're a dumpster fire. Do keep your eyes, though, on some other teams, especially if there are some quarterback injuries throughout preseason. One for sure that I can tell you right now could be in the market for a quarterback would be the New Orleans Saints, but I don't think the Falcons would ever trade with the Saints. It just kind of sounds stupid. All right. It is also important because if the Falcons do trade Kirk Cousins, it would save them $27.5 million. So this would benefit the Atlanta Falcons. He would be the best backup in the entire league, that's for sure. But I also think that $27.5 million cap savings would go a long way to potentially making a trade or signing some free agents before the trade deadline comes up in the midway point of the year. All right, long enough. Let's talk about the offensive notes. Penix and Drake London's connection were outstanding today. There were a couple of reports that Drake London had a couple of early receptions from Michael Penix, who, believe it or not, started off slow, but then really picked it up as the practice went along. In fact, highlighted by one go route from Drake London, where he smoked Amani Uruwara. I don't know how to say that name. Uwarare? Your guess is as good as mine. One of the Tennessee Titans cornerbacks. Either way, one-on-one go route for Drake London and just kind of shimmied off the line, faked inside, pounced out to the outside, and just shy of a touchdown. Michael Penix threw to him, and he was out at about the 1. But it was a beautiful football, a beautiful route, and a great catch by Drake London. And that seems to be the number one relationship for Penix, at least moving forward as we get into week 1. Another note that you need to know about the offense is that Jeffery Simmons, the defensive tackle for the Tennessee Titans, really got after the Falcons' O-line. He's their best player, and it's not close. And according to all notes, that he was given some guff to the Falcons' starting offensive line, but then also really kind of dominated the second-string offensive line. Kind of to be expected. This guy's a really, really good player, but that is the one kind of negative I think you could take away from what the Falcons did in joint practice today. And then finally, Jesse Matthews and Casey Washington made some big plays as well, especially Casey Washington. He had an absolute dime drop to him from Michael Penix. It was like a 60-yard bomb. So Penix really airing the ball out today. He's really starting to pick it up and shine in these training camp joint practices. But with all this being said, I want to see some first-string offense, right? Like, starting Easton Stick is fine. You know, Emory Jones is fine, but I really want to see some good quarterback play, and I want to see the Falcons starters. I don't know if you're with me, but I just really kind of need to scratch that itch. And speaking of scratching that itch, make sure that if you have an itch for some Falcons gear, you start shopping with the one link that I've got in the comments and description of today's video for you. By the way, this jersey that is on sale is not going to be on sale for very much longer. Only a couple days left on this jersey sale. So do me a favor, go to chatsports.com/MPJ shirt and start shopping with our friends at Fanatics today. Defensively, it was a whole different situation. A++ for the Falcons defense today. The secondary was wreaking havoc. PBU after PBU after PBU. It was constant. Falcons beat reporters every single minute. I was getting updates. Pass break up here. Interception here. The biggest one to note, A.J. Terrell tipped up a pass, little alley-oop, slam it down to Jessie Bates for a pick 6. So it was tipped up by A.J. Terrell. Jessie Bates grabbed it, ran it all the way to the house for 6 points, and he balled out. Both of them did, but Jessie Bates in particular. He had a couple of more PBUs and then almost another pick where it was kind of shown like not clutching his helmet, but kind of getting after himself or not coming down with the ball. Either way, Jessie Bates and A.J. Terrell both had really, really good days. The defensive secondary as a whole was awesome and outstanding against Cam Ward and the Titans. Arnold Ebikete also made a couple of big plays, got after some quarterback pressures, and then also a sack on Brandon Allen. Funny enough, Brandon Allen actually went out injured after the Arnold Ebikete play. Nothing dirty, just, fell on a body part wrong and went to get evaluated by the medical professionals in the injury tent. But Arnold Ebikete definitely showing off on that defensive line. And then Xavier Watts getting some first-team reps. I was very surprised to see him out there getting those first-team reps with all the big boys. But I love to see it because you know how I love me some Xavier Watts. He's going to be a wreck in this league, I'm telling you. He's going to absolutely give havoc to opposing quarterbacks. And I think that should be said, by the way, for the Falcons safeties in general. This is one of the best safety rooms in the entire NFL. If not number one, it's definitely inside the top 3. Major defensive takeaways total. The Falcons secondary had a ton of PBUs and sticky coverage against the Titans. Like I said, every single player of note kind of got in and was making things happen. A.J. Terrell, Natrone Brooks had a PBU. Mike Ford had a PBU. Jessie Bates got in on some action again as well. So it was a really, really great day for the Falcons secondary, which Falcons fans should be very, very happy about. My final question for you. Let's talk about the 2025 season as a whole. The Falcons secondary will finish as a top blank unit in the NFL. Is that top 20? Is that top 15? Is that top 10? Hopefully they finish top 15. Last year they were somewhere around 24 or 25 the last time I checked. But top 15 feels like it could be well within the grasp. That is going to do it for us on today's episode of Falcons Today. A reminder to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you haven't. And as always, be cool.